What is up, Zolmates? First of all, if you clicked on this video, you are a very cool person. If you make music or are trying to learn how to make music, you're just chill, so keep being you. Alright, in this video I'm going to be walking through my complete process in creating songs from writing all the way to uploading. This is going to be a general bird's eye view walkthrough. I'm just going to be going over the stages that I go through when I create my songs, and making music is so subjective. That's the beautiful thing about art. So at the end of this video, you can try my exact method, but at the end of the day, it is going to help you find a process that works for you, and that's really exciting. All right, let's just hop right into step one, and that is finding chords. I'd say the base foundation of every song are the chords. The chords just create the progression and the mood. Even if you don't hear a literal chord progression being played in a song, and the song only feeds off of a melody, that melody is most likely following an underlying chord progression. And for those that don't know, chords are when someone plays multiple notes at the same time. It really just sets the tone of a song. So this is a melody. And these are chords. Recently, the way I've come up with chord progressions is just picking up my guitar and starting to play. Sometimes I'll do it on the piano, but mostly it's on the guitar. Like all things in music, this can take so many different forms. So for you, it could be you're producing a beat and you run into chords you really like through MIDI, or it could be you on the piano, or you could be on YouTube searching up type beats and you find a beat that you really like. Whatever it is, when you find the right chord progression, that is when the inspiration just starts flowing. You get super excited and you get all of these ideas and melodies in your head. It is so much fun. Some people say don't force it and wait until inspiration strikes, but I don't think that will help that much. It will just consist of a lot of waiting. I think that inspiration comes to those who sit themselves down and start trying to work towards it. The War of Art, highly recommended. Someone once asked Somerset Maugham if he wrote on a schedule or only when struck by inspiration. I write only when inspiration strikes, he replied. Fortunately, it strikes every morning at 9 o'clock sharp. Most of the time when I sit down to produce a beat or play chords on the guitar, I don't really come up with anything that inspires me, but through consistency, some days you will strike gold and you will come up with something that inspires you to move on to step 2. We now have to come up with a catchy melody. That was pretty bad. I like to find a melody before I write any lyrics. When I listen to music, I really don't even listen to the lyrics that much. The first thing that I hear is the melody. Melody is king. The legendary Quincy Jones said, "Melody is king, and don't you ever forget it." Lyrics appear to be out front, but they're not. They're just an accompanying factor. The first melody I like to come up with is the chorus. Choruses usually have catchier melodies. That's what's really gonna get stuck in your listener's head. The way I come up with melodies is I will play the chords over and over again and just mumble along to it.
You were the only one who saw me.
I have a video walking over how I write lyrics, and in that video, I talk more about how I come up with melodies, so after this video, you should check that out. If I have a melody that I really like and it matches well with the chords, then we get to move on to step 3. And step 3 for me is finding what the song is about and writing the lyrics. We have the chords, we have a good melody, now we need to fit some words into that melody. In this step, you need to ask yourself, what do these chords and melody make me feel? Once you find a general vibe of the song, Then you can go a little bit more in depth and figure out a song theme that you can write about. Do you want to write about heartbreak? Or maybe about falling in love? Or maybe about how you miss the bus and you have to go through a zombie-infested city that's about to get hit by a tsunami filled with aliens? I wrote a song about that, actually.
I miss the bus.
Speaking of original music, I actually have a new single called Lost Art, and it is dropping February 4th. Sadly, it's not about zombie-infested cities. It's about growing up and moving on, and all that jazz. And it's not jazz. That was awful. There's no way they're gonna listen to that. Step 3 is when you can really stretch your wings and sing about anything you want. And remember, the Beatles wrote a hit singing about a yellow submarine. Alright, once I know what the song is about and I have a solid melody with a few lyrics that I really like, I will move on to step 4, which is producing a sketch of the beat. For the sketch, I'll usually record the guitar chords through my computer microphone. It won't take too long with that, and then I'll maybe add some MIDI synths and a drum beat that fits the vibe. The reason I don't record the chords right away with my nice mic is because during this step when I'm producing the demo, I'm getting a better idea of the beat, so I'll probably come up with a better way to play the chords. And I'll also come up with different ways to play the chords to differentiate the verses and choruses. Alright, step 5 is recording my instruments and really diving into the production. This is when I will use my nice mic to record the guitar, ukulele, bass, djembe, oboe, didgeridoo. After I track the instruments, this is when I dive into the mix and really build up the production, and keep in mind that this is when I only have a chorus written, usually, because after I build up the beat, I get a better idea of the verse and how I can have the verse flow into the chorus lyrically. So in this step, I'll be going between producing the beat and writing more lyrics. Step 6, I have a more defined beat, and I have a rough draft of all the vocals. So this is when I really dive in to the words and start editing the lyrics. This is when I might switch an and for an also to give the line more flow, or I'll switch I love you to the moon and back to on the way back from the moon to show my stretch of love for you. Bars. It's like the editing phase of writing essays. You get to really spice up your lyrics, and it's easier to do when you have a more defined beat in front of you. Moving on to step 7. First of all, congrats, you made it this far. And fair warning, this is when you start doubting yourself and thinking the song is super bland. But understand that you've probably heard this song 50 times front to back. I mean, listening to any song that many times in a row, you'll think the same thing. Alright, step 7. I have a beat and all of the lyrics. Now it is time to record them. And during the day of recording, I like to talk a lot throughout the day, really warm up the voice. And before I hop into the booth, which is my closet, I like to watch some YouTube vocal warm-ups. The way I track vocals is I will loop the chorus in my DAW and record that like 8 times. And then I will do the same for verse 1 and verse 2. This is called comping, and it allows me to dive into the recordings and choose my favorite takes. I highly recommend this method of recording vocals to anyone. What I've learned is that usually the first 3 takes of the comp are the worst for me. So if you are just pressing play and then recording a line and then pausing it and listening back to it, it's probably not going to be as good as if you were to loop that section and record it like multiple times. multiple times. So whatever DAW you use, I would look up a tutorial on how to comp with it. I do this for both vocals and instruments. After recording vocals, I get into mixing and mastering the song. Step 8. This step usually takes the most time for me because I just love mixing so much. I love super detailed songs that have ear candy splashed throughout the track. After the first round of mixing, I will export the track as pre-master version 1, and I will listen to the mix on all devices and take notes of the mixing changes that I should make. This step is super important because you are getting the sound consistent throughout all devices. This includes my monitors, headphones, earbuds, speakers, phone speakers, and the dreaded car test. Once I have a mix that I'm proud of, I will master that mix, and I'll master it around -8 to -13 LUFs, and I don't really do too much to my master. If I find something wrong with the master, I'll actually jump into the mix and change a specific track, and then I will re-export that mix and then bounce it again through the master, if that makes sense. All right, we are almost done with the song. We are on to step 9, and this is when I send the master that I'm proud of to a list of people that I really value their insight into the mix and the production and everything. I don't think I will ever export a song and upload it without having other people listen to it. The biggest thing in this step is not getting super defensive over any constructive criticism that they give you, which, going into it, you're like, oh, I'm going to listen to these people, I'm going to see what they have to say. But usually when they say something, your first instinct reaction is, whoa, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. This is what I had envisioned. But you need to understand that you have been listening to this song literally on repeat for days. So you need to get some fresh ears. There's just something about the way a song makes you feel the first time you listen to it. And sadly, you're never going to get that experience with your own music. I think there's a Rick Rubin quote about that. So give that experience to others and really take notes on what they have to say. Congratulations, you have made it to step 10. The last step, and that is uploading the song. There are a bunch of distributors that will put your song out on all platforms. I use DistroKid personally, and I like to set a date of release about 3 weeks into the future. That gives me enough time to hype up the song on social media and also pitch it to Spotify's editorial playlists. Highly recommend you do that. And we can get into step 11 through 32 on how to market the music, but that is going to be for a separate video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Again, new single, Lost Art. It is probably already out by now, so you can give it a listen. Let me know if you like it, and send me your music. You can either send it in the comments, or you can join the Zolmates community. Seriously, the most welcoming music community there is. Send us your music, get some feedback, step 9. And yeah, just chat about music, hang out, have a good time. Keep making music. Subscribe to this channel if you want more videos like this. I actually have a lot more videos about getting into music, getting into production, getting into songwriting and all that stuff. So check those out. Give a subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful time. Peace.